Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading today from 11th Canto, 3rd Chapter, text number 16. Ishamaya Bhagavata Sargastityantakarini Trivarna Vanitasmabhi Kimbhuya Shrutim Ichchasi Ishamaya Bhagavata Sargastityantakarini Trivarna Vanitasmabhi Kimbhuya Shrutim Ichchasi Ishamaya Bhagavata Sargastityantakarini Trivarna Vanitasmabhi Kimbhuya Shrutim Ichchasi. Yantakarini Kimbhuya Shrutim Ichchasi. Ishamaya Bhagavata Sargastityantakarini Trivarna Vanitasmabhi Kimbhuya Shrutim Ichchasi. Sargastityantakarini Kimbhuya Shrutim Ichchasi. Swami Kimbhuya Shrutim Ichchasi. Dhamaya Bhagavata Sargastityantakarini Bhagavani Bhagavatam Vaishnavi Ishamaya Bhagavata Esha, this Maya, material energy, Bhagavata, of the Supreme Lord, Sarga, of creation, Sthiti, maintenance, Anta, and dissolution of this universe, Karini, the agent, Trivarna, consisting of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Varnita has been described asmapi, by us. Kim, what? Bhuya, further. Shrotum, to hear. Ichasi, do you wish? Translation and purport by the servants of Srila Prabhupada. I have now described Maya, the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This illusory potency, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is empowered by the Lord for the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the material universe. Now, what more do you wish to hear? Everyone can please repeat. I have now described Maya, the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This illusory potency, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is empowered by the Lord for the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the material universe. Now, what more do you wish to hear? Purport. King Nimi had expressed to the Navayogendras his fear of the illusory potency of the Lord and had requested a detailed explanation of Maya so that he could avoid becoming a victim at her hands. Now, Sri Antariksha, having described the illusory potency, is suggesting that the king inquire about the means to become totally free from Maya's influence. Not waiting for the king to ask such a question, Sri Antariksha himself is suggesting, now that you have heard about Maya's influence, you should inquire about the process of becoming free from such influence. According to Sridhar Swami, that is the significance of Sri Antariksha's question, Kim bhuya shrotim ichchasi? What more do you wish to hear? Om Jnana-timirandasya Ganam Jana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Ayam Tadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatirishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, this paragraph describing this verse is a summary describing what has happened so far. So, at the beginning of the second chapter, as it says here, King Nimi is inquiring from the Navayogendras what to do about fear of the illusory energy. Prahlad Maharaj, in his prayers to Nrsimhadev, he said, I'm very fearful of this. And then later on he says, I'm not fearful at all. So which is it? No. So Srila Prabhupada explained that. Just like a mother walking with a child by a river. So the mother is not afraid of the river, but she's afraid of the child falling into the river. So, Prahlad Maharaj's actual fear was that the living entities are so bewildered by your illusory energy. And this is his fear. So this fear wasn't directly expressed by Nimi, but rather by Vasudeva to Narada Muni, who then told this. Narada Muni is telling this whole episode about the Nimi inquiring from the Navayogendras. Now this is, of course, very instructive, because otherwise referring back to previous incidents means that there is some precedent. Just like in law, if anyone, you have a law case, a good lawyer will know many precedents, what happened before, to give validity, proof that what I'm saying is true. So here, Nimi, the story of Nimi is a proof that what these principles that Narada Muni wants to explain, he's not making them up. It's not coming from his fertile brain, although he has a very fertile brain, and in the right way. We may have fertile brains in the wrong way, but he has a fertile brain in the right way. But still, Guru Shastra Sadhu. This is the way we transmit knowledge. We take reference from Shastras, we take reference from previous incidents, previous personalities. The whole Bhagavatam, so many different layers of conversations going on. And these conversations are interesting because it means that the Lord is being revealed. Because no one can understand Krishna directly. Krishna says this so many times. I cannot be understood. No. He can't be understood by Mahamaya, and he can't be understood by Yogamaya. No. Because by Yogamaya, he keeps his different associates from understanding him in a way that distracts them from their rasa. No. He doesn't want to distract them from their rasa. Just like Mother Yashoda, when she looked into the mouth of Krishna, Krishna thought, she wants to see dirt, so I will exhibit unlimited dirt. No. Everything about Krishna is unlimited. He wasn't going to show a little clump of mud. He showed the entire universe. And so, is this enough dirt for you, Mata? No. And she became totally bewildered. So much so that she was thinking, is Krishna really my child? She began to think very philosophically. Krishna, I don't like this. No, this is not according to her rasa. This is not according to what I want to feel with my mother. Just like in a family, children relate to their parents in a very sentimental way. According to the love, the exchange of love. They don't look for detailed information about the relationship. No. Let me say, my dear father, you're a lawyer and you work 8 hours a day. No, can you give me some ice cream? No, that's what he's thinking. No. This loving relationship. So, therefore, Srila Prabhupada said, that's why our philosophy is superior. Because most religious philosophies, they see God as the Father. So Srila Prabhupada said, we are not so anxious to see God as the Father. Because then we're taking from Him. Give me, I want this, I need. We want to see God as the Son. Let me give you. So this is superior. We want to see Krishna as the object. Therefore Krishna, when he comes in the form of the deity, we treat him like baby Krishna, like Bala Krishna. We cut up little fruits. We don't give him a mango and expect him to take it and peel it. We may give someone a mango here. It's nice to peel the mango, but Krishna, we cut it up. Everything is very nice. We bathe him. We do everything. No, he doesn't need to be bathed. No. His transcendental body. But we bathe him. And Mother Yashoda bathes him. And he covers himself with dust. There's no dust that can touch Krishna. No. Only Chintamani. That dust can touch Krishna. So this is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. So this became the first explanation when Nimi asked when he saw the Navayogendras, he taught us, how do you receive a saintly person? Atta atyantikam shemam. That you are the source of all good fortune. Prichchamo bhavato naga. You can explain. I'm inquiring from you because you are sinless. Therefore, whatever you say will be perfect. Sinful people, they're always planning. What can I get? How can I exploit nature? How can I enjoy? But no. And samsare smin kshanodāpi. Therefore, I want to know how to get out of this samsara. So there he was indirectly expressing fear. Samsara is very fearful. And then he said, how do you do it? He answered himself. Satsanga shivadir ninam. The greatest treasure, the greatest benefit in this world is the association of the devotees. So then he inquired, and immediately the answer came. This fearful condition is simply due to ignorance. And then that was explained to him, how I'm coming to a certain point about the rest of the purport. That's why I'm going into this. Bhaya dvitiya viniveshatasya. That bhaya, the fear, comes from dvitiya, avinivesha. That when you see the secondary cause as the primary cause, Maya, when you think that Maya is causing something to happen, she's the instrument by which things happen. But they happen by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, this is the illusion. Ishara petasya viparyayo ashmati. And the result of this is that everything becomes reversed. Then we see Isha as my order supplier. We see the Supreme Lord as that person. That particular verse is where this idea of order supplier comes from. And we convert the Lord into order supplier. So many people come here, they take darshan. Some are coming to worship Krishna as their Lord and make some offering. Just like Rupa Goswami says, whenever you come to the temple, you should bring some offering for the deity. Some offering. If you don't have anything, then you offer some prayers. A sadhu may offer prayers. A person who has some opulence, they should bring something. And don't bring the cheapest thing. Like, patram pushpam balam toy. Oh, Krishna just needs some leaves. Let me bring some leaves or some water. No. Bring what you can. Make it a sacrifice. And not something, let me do the minimum for Krishna. Let me figure out what's the minimum I can do. But yeah, so this illusory energy does this. Tanmayayato Buddha abhajatam. But to overcome Maya's influence, we awaken our intelligence, and then bhaktyayekayesham gurudeva tatma. We engage exclusively in the process of devotional service, following the orders of the spiritual master, who is my worshipable deity. So he goes on to explain that all this is because of illusion. And we give up this illusion, daytime illusion, diyadyatur swapna manorato yata. We have no trouble seeing nighttime illusion. This is a dream. but we don't see the daydream. We think this daydream is real. No. But Bhagavatam says, no, the daydream, no, what I'm trying to achieve, what I want, family, friends, society, all this is a daydream. No. Now one may say, wait, what about family? I love family. Family is very wonderful. Yes, it is wonderful because we're substituting it for Krishna. We have to have something. We have to have something in which we put our full faith and our full effort. You know? So if we don't have Krishna, we will find something, country, politicians, soldiers, you know, nationalists, they will put it in the country. Most people will all put into their family. You know? And of course, a devotee doesn't negate the family, but a devotee sees the family in a different way. He sees them as, he sees Krishna. He sees their relationship with Krishna. He sees my relationship with, and therefore the affection for the family becomes stronger because you're deriving that affection from the original source. It's not just based on the bodily connection and psychological imposition of instinct, which we find in the animals. They also have psychological imposition, although their psyche is not very advanced, but they take care of their children. Nothing so wonderful about it. Every species does it to some degree. Some species, they eat their children, but, of course, Srila Prabhupada said in one lecture, that is also becoming popular. This is also becoming popular. And as Kali Yuga goes on, Prabhupada said, at the end of Kali Yuga, there's no water, there's no food. People will have to eat their children. That's how they'll survive, drinking blood and eating children. So Prabhupada said, therefore you must get out. Get out quickly. Don't wait for the end of Kali Yuga. Otherwise, don't think I can take another birth, no problem. No, I've been good. I've done pious activities. I've done devotional service. This will guarantee me a super good birth, and and then I can enjoy the world a little more. Of course, Srila Prabhupada did say about Jayananda Prabhu, said if he had any trace of material desire, he'll go to the heavenly planets, enjoy for a while, and then go back home, back to God. Just like Chitraketu. He was cursed. He had to fulfill the conditions of that curse, and then he was already a pure devotee. But he had to go through this experience. So after one realizes that this fearful condition, one has overcome it by proper use of intelligence, then Shrivan Subhadrani Ratanga Panir. Then one can take shelter of Ratanga Pane, Krishna. Specifically, it says Krishna holding up the wheel. He will destroy. He will destroy the fear, the anxiety in the heart of the living entity. Shrinvan Subhadrani. By hearing very auspicious glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Janmani Karmani Chayani Loke. Hearing about his wonderful births, hearing about his wonderful activities. Gitani Namani Tat Artakani. Hearing about his glorification and his holy name. And then the result is Gayan Bilajo, that one becomes indifferent to everything and simply wants to glorify Krishna. Vicharet Asangaha, using his intelligence to disassociate himself from the material energy. This is Krishna consciousness. So this is the process that's spoken about here in the first part of the purport. So then the following is a summary of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's explanation of this process of annihilation described in the previous verses. Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the presiding deity of consciousness, which becomes manifest within Mahatattva. By further transformation of Mahatattva, becoming manifest within Mahatattva, means the potency of this deity of Vasudeva. He does not actually come into material nature, no. But in his incarnation as consciousness, he enters into material nature, which is actually his energy. Just like time, it says that time is Krishna. It's actually his energy. But because it represents him perfectly and it makes everything happen, Krishna is the source of all activities and everything that's happening. So same process. And then from the Mahatattva, the threefold false ego appears as follows. From Vaikarika. Vaikarika means the aggregate of living entities. False ego in the mode of goodness appears. The 11th sense, the mind, whose presiding deity is Aniruddha. 2, from Taijasa, false ego in the mode of passion, comes intelligence, whose presiding deity is Pradyumna. And the 5 working senses and the 5 knowledge-acquiring senses with their various presiding deities. 3, from the false ego in the mode of ignorance arises the subtle form of sound, and from that sound, or shabda, all the material elements gradually become manifest. Beginning with ether and the sense of hearing, the presiding deity of these 3 divisions of false ego is Sankarshan. This description is taken from chapter 26 of the 3rd canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, verses 27, 20, 21, 27, 28, 30, 31, 32, and 35. So here we see Srila Prabhupada is Acharya. He quotes Shastra. He's quoting Sri Guru, who is quoting Shastra. So here we see the process. This is the summary of the process of creation. Now the summary of this up to now, this part of the chapter. The Supreme Personality of Godhead's external energy, Maya, causes birth, maintenance, and destruction of the material world. She is tree-colored red, white, and black. In her red feature, the material nature is created. In white, it endures, and in black, it is annihilated. The Mahatattva arises from this Maya, and from the Mahatattva comes the 3 varieties of false ego mentioned above. At the time of annihilation, the 5 great elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, and ether, merge into the false ego in the mode of ignorance, from which they were originally generated. The 10 senses and the intelligence merge into the false ego in passion, and the mind, along with the demigods, merges into the false ego in the mode of goodness, which then merges into Mahatattva, which further takes shelter of the Prakriti, or the unmanifest Pradhana. So here we have it. Why all this explanation? Because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said it. That's why. If he said it, it must be important. If it's in the Bhagavatam, he's repeating it. Therefore, it's very important. Why is it very important? It seems kind of boring, this, that. Sounds like, this came from this and this came from this. Why is this important? If we go to the Chatushloki verses, the second verse, Vitirtam napratiyeta chatmani, that anything that you see which is not related to me, that is Maya. Now, this is how Krishna, the first thing he didn't start telling Brahma about himself. He did mention, I'm always there. That much he did mention. But the first thing he did was explain Maya. Because you have to know what will keep you from understanding me. Therefore, we see in the beginning of Bhagavad-gita, we see that Krishna is explaining Sankhya Yoga. We're not this body. You have to explain this. Otherwise, people will never get out of this Maya. Therefore, Brahma, when he's in the process of creation, he from his shadow, he creates five things. Tama, Tamisra, Andha-tamisra, Moha, and Maha-moha, or Mahatama. Not Mahatama. Mahatama is a great devotee, but Mahatama, that is extreme ignorance. So these things manifest in the following way. That first, Tamisra, the most dangerous. I'm thinking that I am equal to the Supreme. No. And Andha-tamisra, I don't believe in the Supreme. No. Blind ignorance. First was awakened ignorance. So I see the Supreme, I'm equal. Then blind ignorance. Everything ends at the time of death. Then Tama, I am the body. And then Moha, I want to enjoy this body. And then Maha-moha, I am mad after sense gratification. Srila Prabhupada explains this very clearly, 3rd chapter, 20th verse, text number 18, which is also found in Vishnu Purana, another 2 verses explain. These are all very technical things. But the point is that Krishna, in the most essential verses of the Bhagavatam, from which the Bhagavatam expands, the first verse he speaks about himself. And therefore, just as things are explained in the reverse order here, then Krishna explains everything in reverse order. First, ignorance, a reflection in darkness. Everything you're seeing here is a reflection in darkness, which, by the way, Jiva Goswami mentions, that this is the proof that the living entity is different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because if the light is reflected in the darkness, that means it is different from the light. And therefore the light, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity, the Jiva Maya, must be different. So therefore, he says that actually Krishna was declaring indirectly in this verse speaking about Maya, the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and how he is superior to anything within this material world. So this is also recommended in the Bhagavatam. Abraham Bhuvanaloke Punar Avartino Arjuna, that from the highest levels, Brahmaloka, down to the lowest planet, mode of ignorance, lower planets, everything is material. But mamupetya tukondeya, if you come to me, if you attain me, if you understand me, then punar janma navidyate, then you won't take birth again. Otherwise, this is interminable, birth and death in the material world. So these warnings are there everywhere, again and again. And this whole chapter up to this point was emphasizing how dangerous Maya is. Why is that? Why repeat it? Why is it so much detail? So I've told this story, but maybe some of you haven't heard it. I was preaching to one professor. I don't know if I was really preaching to him because he was pretty puffed up. So he said, "Can I speak with you, Swami?" Okay. So we sat down. Why does Swami Prabhupada keep saying, "I'm not this body"? I got it the first time. I understood it the first time. Why does he keep saying it? So I was thinking, how will I explain it to this man who would just argue with me unlimitedly, you know? So he had some cigarette pack in his pocket. I said, can I see your cigarette pack? No. I think he was thinking, oh, Swami wants to smoke. No, man. So I took it. I said, you see here? I said, how long have you been smoking? Oh, he said, maybe 30 years. So I said, you see right here, it says, smoking cigarettes is hazardous to your health. No. How many times have you seen this message? No. Oh, many times. But you're still smoking. No. And therefore, the message has to come again and again. So you may theoretically understand you're not this body, but you're still acting, you're so addicted to the body that you have to smoke cigarettes. No. And he said, all right, I accept. No, didn't want any more preaching. That was, that I got my quota. So the same thing. Again and again this is mentioned. Every time that Krishna is glorified by the demigods, by devotees, the first thing that is mentioned is you are the source of material creation, you are the source of the modes of nature. Otherwise, you go back to the basics so that people don't jump to Rasa Lila. No. You go to the basics. Or when we preach Krishna consciousness, we preach Bhagavad-gita. If you look, even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, practically half of the verses are from Bhagavad-gita, and not quite half, more from Bhagavatam, because it's a very advanced literature. You look at Srila Prabhupada's preaching, practically, a good portion of his preaching is all quoting Bhagavad-gita, because he's preaching to the world. And this is the purpose of this movement. This movement is not, to delve deeply into rasas. That's also there. But that's there for devotees who reach that platform. But our preaching, our mission is to give Krishna consciousness to the world. And of course, along with that, we should try to make sure that those who take it up, we maintain them nicely. Otherwise, then they will become embittered, as Prabhupada said. That's another subject matter. So this is the reason that all this is happening, all this is being said. As Narada Muni said to Vyasadeva, he said that Tasyaiva heto prayatittako vido nalabhyate yad brahmatam uparyada. That an intelligent person will look for that thing which is not found in this world. Which it means that we're all very foolishly looking for something in this world. And therefore, those who chant Gayatri Mantra, it begins by saying you have to go beyond the gross and the subtle layers of existence. Begin, first line. And it begins like this. You have to go beyond this material nature. So, because tal labhyate, dukhavat anyatra sukham kalena sarvatra gabira ramasa. Because just like you're not looking for suffering, you want happiness, but suffering and happiness are happening by a subtle influence in a specific way according to time. They are happening like that. You don't look for suffering, but it comes. So in the same way, otherwise he's saying, don't look for anything here because it's already programmed. Look for that which is beyond this material world. Then you will be happy. So this is coming, and this is the purpose of this last line. Kim bhuya shrotum ichchasi. What do you want to hear about now? Do you want to hear about, just like I told the story the other day, Krishna and Narada Muni. So when Narada Muni comes out of his illusion, Krishna says, you want to hear more about Maya? No. I want to hear about you. No. Because, here King Nimi is being asked, what do you want to hear about now? But really he's telling him, now you should hear about how to get out of Maya. I explained all these details to show you how complex it is. Now you should understand the science of how to get out. No. So then the last paragraph, I'll just read it very quickly because we should read the purport here. Just read it quickly because it's basically summarizing what summarizing because we should understand the complexities of this world. And also, it gives credit. This last paragraph gives so much credit to Krishna. Scientists think we've discovered mitochondria, we've discovered this, we've discovered DNA, RNA, this and that. But this is how can they take sound out of air, out of ether? Can they do that? No. Can they do that? No. Can they take touch out of air? Can they do that? No. So here we see Krishna, the supreme scientist. As described above, each of the gross elements is wound up when its distinguishing quality is removed. So no one can remove a distinguishing quality. No. The wind can do that to some degree. This can be understood. The element then merges into the previous element. This can be understood as follows. In space or ether, there is the quality of sound. In the air, there are qualities of sound and touch. In fire, there are sound, touch, and form. In water, there are sound, touch, form, and taste. And in the earth, there are sound, touch, form, taste, and aroma. Therefore, from the ether down to earth, each element is distinguished by the addition of its own unique quality called guna vishesham. This is another glorification of Krishna. That Krishna can give not only every element, but every living entity. How many living entities are there? Anyone know? Anyone have a count? It says, the Bhagavatam says, Lord Brahma in his prayers, how many snowflakes are there? How many drops of rain are? How many atoms are there? Who can count? That's how many living entities there are. And each one of them has unique qualities that Krishna specifically is inculcating, is instilling within that living entity so that he can have a unique, it's not that he just has unique relationship with the gopis and the cowherd, no. He has unique with every living entity. How capable is Krishna? Just like we may have a relationship with 20, 30 people, you may be a big, movie star or something. You touch so many people, thousands of people, millions of people if you're very good, author, but you don't have a unique relationship with each one of them. You're pointing out some unique aspect, something that your intelligence was able to perceive, but you don't have a unique relationship. Krishna has a unique relationship with every living entity. That is a great accomplishment. When that quality is removed, that distinguishing quality, an element becomes non-different from its previous element and thus merges into it. For example, when the great winds take away aroma from earth, earth contains only sound, touch, form, and taste, and thus it becomes non-different from water into which it merges. Similarly, when water loses its rasa, or taste, it contains only sound, touch, and form. Thus it becomes non-different from fire, which also contains those three qualities. So when wind takes away aroma to merge earth into water and takes away taste to merge water into fire, then when the universal darkness removes form from fire, fire merges into air. Space then removes the sense of touch from air, and air merges into space. The Supreme Personality of Godhead as the time element removes sound from space, and space merges into false ego in the mode of ignorance from which it arose. Now, scientists will tell us that space means absence of everything, but they don't understand. Space is also an element. They're totally bewildered. They think the mind is the soul. They think that space is the ultimate irreducible existence. We're looking for Krishna, and they're looking for this. We're looking for the biggest, who's also the smallest. And they're looking for, some little particle. And if we find this particle, then we'll be able to explain everything. But the more they delve into it, actually when I was studying physics, that's why I quit. Because we went to the nuclear reactor and saw these little things going through some gas. I said, how do we know what that is? We can't see it. It's smaller than an atom according to your calculation. So how can we see it? Oh, it must exist because this formula created this and therefore. So I said, this sounds like religion. At that time I was a little bit agnostic. So I said, this just sounds like religion. No, you want me to believe something I can't see, I can't perceive? No. Of course, later, by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, I understood how to perceive Krishna through the holy name. We're very fortunate to have that opportunity. So, they can't do these things. How will they murder? Of course, they talk about black holes. Now, maybe a black hole is Krishna's hint that there's something beyond space. So, but we've already found that out right here in the Bhagavatam. We don't have to get a big multi-billion-dollar telescope to try to see something that they say is, 3 trillion light years away. How can you even figure that out? I saw something the other day, 1.2 trillion light years away. You know how far that is? That's really far. When you live on an island, you think that, I go to many islands, and they think like, 100 kilometers is very far, because the island is smaller than that. That's like the frog in the well, that's farther, that must be unlimited. So, but and how can they even claim to know these things? But people say, yeah, when they go to the observatory and see some display, yeah, okay, you got it all figured out. No. And this is, what does Srila Prabhupada call this? Cheating. No, cheating. This is cheating. No. But a very expert cheating, and very eloquent cheating. Very, you could glorify them for their cheating. You can glorify their cheating. It's so nicely done. But if you read the Bhagavatam, you can see right through it. No. Finally, the false ego is merged into the Mahat Tattva, which is merged into the unmanifest Pradhana, and thus the universe is annihilated. So, that was quite a detailed purport. But the whole thing I wanted to mention, just going back to verse 12 in the purport, where it's quoted that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said that there are 3 types of Brahmins. When Brahma is the best karmi, just like Daksha. Daksha was a great karmi. And it's not like, sometimes we think, oh, the karmis, but not like that kind of karmi, like people on the street, which are also glorious because amanina, if we're Vaishnavas, we see them also as glorious, but they're not, oh, those karmis, let me take some Mahaprasadam. Stay in the temple, I don't want to associate with these karmis. So, no. But the greatest karmi, like Daksha, he spoke the Hamsa Guhya prayer, very eloquent, glorifying the Supreme Person. So he's not just some ordinary karmi. So this Brahma, the greatest karmi, sometimes Brahma is the great, So how does he do this? No? How can he be the head of the sampradaya as a karmi, or a jnani who merges into the impersonal Brahman? No? And even as a devotee, our Brahma is a devotee, but Srila Prabhupada said many times, he's not a pure devotee, he became a pure devotee. When did he become a pure devotee? He became a pure devotee when he heard the Chatushloki verses. But he became a devotee of Krishna when he offered prayers to Govinda, when he tried to take the cowherd boys and the calves away. He became a devotee of Krishna. He understood Govinda. You know, and so, very special. You know. But how can he be a karmi? So therefore I wanted to, I'll conclude with this. And because I'm saying this, how do our senior devotees become acharyas? No. Srila Prabhupada explains. The statements of Thakur Bhakti Vinod are as good as scriptures because he is a liberated person. Generally, the spiritual master comes from the group of such eternal associates of the Lord. But anyone who follows the principles of such ever liberated persons is also as good as one in the above mentioned group. So that's how we do it. Otherwise, how can we tell anybody what to do? Because we're hearing from Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada is hearing from the Acharya. And this is the parampara. So anyone who thinks that I can understand things without the parampara, he's in illusion. Great illusion. There are someone may be born and be able to accomplish something. It's possible. But Srila Prabhupada said it's not probable. Among the conditioned souls, it's not possible. You have to be born a liberated person. Then you can enter directly into Raganuga Bhakti. You don't even, just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He said he read Chaitanya Charitamrita 3 times. And after doing so, he was on the topmost liberated platform. The first, just like Lord Brahma, the first time he read it, he completely understood Brahman. Lord Brahma, he read the Vedas 3 times. First time he understood Brahman. Second time he understood Paramatma. And third time he understood Bhagavat. So the same way, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he understood 3 levels, and he understood Paramatma, Krishna, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. So amazing. So that means we should also read Chaitanya Charitamrita 3 times. Before doing that, we should read the Bhagavatam more times. And before that, we should read the Bhagavad-gita even more times. Otherwise, you'd keep reading. Not that I've graduated from Bhagavad-gita. This happened in Los Angeles in Prabhupada's time. When Chaitanya Charitamrita came out, a group of devotees got together, the Gopi Bhava Club. And they, what do we need Bhagavad-gita? We're beyond this. When Prabhupada heard about it, he came and he smashed them in a very eloquent way. And they learned. So sometimes if we don't have the association of devotees, we don't have the instruction of Srila Prabhupada, then we can all become bewildered. We should not think that, no, I've been a devotee for X amount of years and therefore I'm fixed. You may think you're fixed. You may be on the Nishta platform, but even on the Bhava Bhakti platform, you can become bewildered. So don't think that, that I'm finished, I graduated. No. You graduate when you go back home, back to God. Then you graduated. And then you're, until then, as Rupa Goswami says, as long as you're within a material body, then you must follow the regulative principle. You have to perform sadhana bhakti, whether it's Vaidhi sadhana or Raganuga sadhana. You have to follow. And not that Raganuga sadhana means I don't go to Mangalarti. I'm Raganuga. I do what I want. Raganunga means if I don't go to Mangala Arati, it's because I stayed up all night chanting. No, that's why. If you stay up all night translating like Prabhupada or chanting, then okay. But still, you may go. It says, the six Goswami, Srinivasacharya says, they were very regulated. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, experiencing Radha Bhav and Gopi Bhav and Manjari Bhav. He was very regulated. He was very careful. He gave the example. This is Acharya. So he taught us these things. So these are some thoughts on this verse. I will stop here. Any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, you were reading Srila Prabhupada's quote just now.
I can barely hear it. It's like all the fans going and everything.
Maharaj, you
Speak
just
a little louder.
You just read a quote from Srila Prabhupada, a statement from Srila Prabhupada. So, and you were mentioning that Srila Prabhupada is saying, one who is following the principles of Guru Parampara Acharyas, he is also perfect.
Yeah.
So I was remembering, I think it is in NOI 5, Nectar of Instruction, Purport 5, where Srila Prabhupada says, if you accept a spiritual master who is not so advanced, then you should understand that he will take you to that level only.
What was that last? Yes, Prabhupada says that. So what do we do? What if I have one of those spiritual masters? Well, that's what we have Srila Prabhupada's books. We have Srila Prabhupada's presence as the Acharya, who is a certified Mahabhagavat. No. Someone else may or may not be, but Prabhupada is certified. 100%. No. So that's our, and we have the whole parampara. We have Rupa Goswami. We have all them. But we need the spiritual master to connect us. So to whatever level that spiritual master takes us, this refers to the fact if one accepts that spiritual master and has no other source of understanding. But we have the association of Vaishnavas. We have Shiksha Gurus. This is the beauty of living in a society of devotees, that we have so much nectar, and especially we have Srila Prabhupada as the Acharya, founder Acharya. Founder Acharya means the person who's giving the foundational principles, the foundation of our movement and the foundation of our understanding.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, can I ask on this a little more?
Yes, it doesn't look like we're being flooded with questions today, so.
Okay. Maharaj, so my question was that how to reconcile, because in one statement we understand that he is perfect because he is following the principles of perfect Acharya. And in other statement then he will be able to uplift the disciple only to the extent he is uplifted or elevated.
Yeah, the echo.
In one statement it is right because he is following the perfect Acharya, he is perfect. And in the other statement, Prabhupada says that okay, he can take you to the level to which he is elevated.
Yes. How do we, because he can take you to that level, but then we have, we're following him perfectly. Therefore, we're perfect up to that point. But to go to the point of perfect realization, beyond that point, then you have Srila Prabhupada, you have Parampara, etc. Now, Srila Prabhupada in his books, he also refers to other Shastras. He refers to Krishna Karnamrita. He says, if you want to know more about this, read Krishna Karnamrita. If you want to understand this, read Brihat Bhagavatamrita. You know. So even Srila Prabhupada himself doesn't limit, although he says everything is within my books, yes. But if you want to understand more, Srila Prabhupada says, you can understand more. He's not saying you can't understand. Otherwise, why did he, so many times he said, you can read this, you can read that. In 1968, Srila Prabhupada said, the books of Bhaktivinoda Thakur are essential for understanding Krishna consciousness. We must translate these books. So Prabhupada gave a summary of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And now so many devotees have been translating. So if we have these books, commentaries, and we understand them through Srila Prabhupada, then we have a very wonderful opportunity to understand so many things. Of course, many devotees, like myself, may have so many things to do that I'm very fortunate if I can read Srila Prabhupada's books. No. So, but you know, if somebody has a very inquisitive mind, Prabhupada said, yeah, you can read this, you can read, but you read it through the lens of Srila Prabhupada, not through the lens of my mental speculation or my intellectual exercise. No. You read it through the eyepiece of Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Oh, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much your beautiful description about this particular sloka. So Maharaj, here in this sloka, like Nemi Maharaj expressing his fearful situation, like influence of Maya, and he also wanted to come out. So he asking the solutions from Navayogindar, and you are very beautifully explained. So sometimes like myself, I'm staying in the temple, associating with the devotees. So I'm not so much like influence of like thinking about the influence of Maya. So that is also I'm in a illusion. So how I can break down this illusion, Maharaj?
How do we? It was hard to hear with the echo.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My question is that here Nemi Maharaj was fearful about the influence of Maya. Okay, so he wanted to come out from this influence of Maya. So Navayogindar Maharaj explained everything to him. So sometimes like when I am staying in the temple or associating with the devotees, taking the darshan of the Lord, so sometimes the illusion is coming to me that, oh, okay, I am also like, there is no influence of Maya. But also I am inside the Maya, so how I can break down this?
I heard. Association of the Vaishnavas. No. That's the association is so important. No, because my perception of the deity is up to the degree of my understanding. My perception, even my reading of Srila Prabhupada's books, although they're perfect, is subject to interpretation of my mind, my likes and my dislikes. No. What I accept and what I reject. So therefore, association always guarantees what we can get a fuller understanding. We don't get stuck in the limitations of my mind and my intelligence, which are very limited. Of course, sometimes we think they're very great. That's another problem. But if we can understand I have so many limitations, then we can make spiritual advancement, because we will allow others to take us beyond our limitations, and especially Srila Prabhupada. And others will help us to understand. Did I understand Srila Prabhupada? No. We should think like that. No. I think I understood, but let me make sure. That's why Srila Prabhupada wanted so much that there be questions and answers. No. But sometimes we're afraid to ask a question because we think, devotees will think, I don't know, and therefore I won't ask a question. No. But we should think I don't know. No. Just like when Narada Muni wanted to know who is the greatest devotee. So Vishnu sent him to one devotee. He said, he is my greatest devotee. Tell him that he's liberated, he can come to Vaikuntha. So Narada Muni went and said, congratulations, you were promoted to Vaikuntha. And he said, I don't know Vaikuntha. I don't know what that is. I only know the instructions of my spiritual master. If my spiritual master says, go to Vaikuntha, I will go. And if he says, go to hell, I will also go. So, and then Narada Muni understood that this is parampara. Not that, oh, I want this, so I don't have to worry about Guru telling me about it. I'll just go for it. Vaikuntha, yeah, why not? And it's coming from Narada Muni. But he was so sincere. No, if my Guru Maharaj hasn't told me to do this, I won't do it. Okay, thank you all very much. Our time has expired. All glory to Srila Prabhupada, Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga, SriSriRadhaRasbihariTemple, Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Shri Gaurnitai ki jai, Nanta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Thai Gaura Premanandi.